We put this bootcamp series together based on our partners asking for, hey, just kind of need some basic training on, different service verticals that Quest makes available to our channel partners. So this is built for you. This is why we put it together. We want to make this as informative as possible, a little bit of fun as well, and just kind of have an open dialogue with our partners as far as areas where we see we can grow together. So today we're talking about infrastructure services. Our bootcamp series covers multiple aspects. So if you're jumping into the first session today, welcome. If you'd like any additional information, there is additional information available on our partner portal and other recorded sessions, as well as some additional boot camps coming up. We're doing about every 2 weeks over the summer in different areas. So love to have you guys here. Thank you very much. And again, if you like this, please share it with anyone on your team or any colleagues that you have that might be helpful. So let's jump into infrastructure services today. So Quest started our infrastructure services a little over 25 years ago. We started out, as many of you know, in the value-added reseller business, and part of things around that, people need help with infrastructure. So today's bootcamp, what we're going to be covering is basically what are we talking about when we say IT infrastructure? What are we talking about when we're talking about clients' IT infrastructure needs? Where do you start as an advisor, as a specialist in technology? Where do you start bridging that gap between your other services that you may be helping the client out with and basic IT infrastructure needs? A little bit around techniques and sales and integration and how to kind of leverage existing relationships you have, as well as our implementation, post and pre-sales support, how we lead into things, how we start the conversation, kind of how do you land the plane, if you will, on an initial opportunity. Would love for you guys to walk away from this understanding our general IT infrastructure capabilities, how to cross-sell with current offerings. So if you're traditionally selling, unified communications or call center applications or data center or traditional value-added reseller licensing hardware, how you can bundle these things in, how it worked for Quest and how it can work for you. And again, just those sales and consultative approach to helping your clients out. Love to give you guys the ability and the skills going forward around, providing that infrastructure assessment, bringing our team in to help you with that. Customizing, it's not a one-size-fits-all market, rarely is for any service offering. You'll kind of notice a theme around that customization and meeting the clients where they are in every single one of our boot camps. That's something we believe in and consistently deliver upon in every single one of our verticals, and infrastructure is no different. And then just, effectively communicating how you as an advisor and as a partner can help your clients execute in the world of physical infrastructure. So there's tons of opportunities in the IT landscape. There's these everyone loves the OSI model and looking at all the different layers of where people are looking for help. If you notice at the bottom too, everything is built upon the physical and the data link layers of the OSI model, right? So physical infrastructure, fiber, wireless, signal repeaters, getting that kind of broadcast out there. Having that physical infrastructure layer is going to enable everything above it in the stack. So everything that we do on a daily basis, from the headsets to the microphones to the video cameras to the cables running throughout the walls, the IDFs, the MDFs, everything that sometimes we take for granted as people just living in a connected world, in a connected workspace, is extremely critical and extremely critical to your clients. Every single client you have, whether they're born in the cloud, brand new SaaS, high-end operators that are 100% as a service people, all the way down to legacy manufacturing, retail. Doesn't matter what the service vertical is. Every single one of our clients is very dependent on these two layers of the OSI model, right? So today we're going to be focusing primarily on the physical and how we help deploy, manage, maintain, and support organization's physical IT infrastructure. We'll get a little bit into the data layer as well, but this is really where we're focusing, and understanding why is every client needs help with this. Every client needs a way to access their clients, their data, their hosted environments. They need communications. They need to be able to communicate with folks, whether that's across brand new hosted CX and the latest and greatest UCaaS platforms or legacy on-prem phone systems. Doesn't matter. They have to have physical infrastructure in order to do that, at least to even access the internet or access the edge. So super critical, and they have to have that. When you start having these conversations with clients, there's a couple different reasons why they're going to want to invest in physical infrastructure. One of them is just the ability to scale and grow. I cannot tell you how many times we will get involved with an organization that as they're growing and as they're scaling their business, there are physical limitations to getting transport, data, connectivity to their SaaS applications, connectivity to data centers, whatever it is, they start hitting bottlenecks because the physical infrastructure where their headquarters, where their data center locations are, where their applications reside, we've all been in this scenario where they want to upgrade, they want to move to the next latest and greatest capabilities, but the physical infrastructure, the ability to push traffic of a gig, 10 gig and higher is not there, right? So scalability and growth, in order for folks to take advantage of the latest and greatest technologies, they have to have access and they have to have capacity to do that. When we're helping organizations plan for the long term, whether it's at the network layer or helping with connectivity to their edge, whether it's extending a DMARC in their buildings or providing a larger wireless environment for them, you got to plan as much as you can for that increased performance. Things are not slowing down. No one ever comes to you and say, hey, I need less connectivity, right? That's not happening. Connectivity continues to be cheaper, but if you have a bottleneck from your physical infrastructure layer, doesn't matter how cheap that new 10 gig pipe is that's going to directly connect you to Azure or AWS or GCP. Doesn't matter how fast and sexy that cloud application is. If you're hamstrung by limited capacity on premise, doesn't matter what the cloud can do for you if you're limited on infrastructure. We just had the 4th of July holiday weekend, and like a lot of people, I'm currently residing in an area that's kind of close to the surface of the sun during the summer months, and in Phoenix, Arizona, and decided to move my family to celebrate the holiday up in the mountains. Well, when you're up in the mountains and everyone is in the mountains for the holidays, and you try to hop on the cellular network and check your email or check those types of things, that entire city was basically hamstrung by 3 times the normal population trying to use a very limited infrastructure. So performance and bottlenecks happened, and long-term planning for that city or for increasing the ability to have tourists come in or things like that might want to look at increasing their capacity for higher use traffic. We see this all the time. You see this at venues, you see this in small towns, you see this in areas where they might not have that connectivity. So tons of opportunities there for scaling and growth. Business continuity and risk management is also critical around infrastructure services. If you are single threaded into an environment, a lot of our clients maybe have dual connectivity from a carrier, right? So maybe they have a Lumen, maybe they have an AT&T, maybe they have a local CLEC coming into their environment. Oftentimes, clients might not know that carriers use the same physical transport to get into a certain address. That is a danger in the idea that, hey, I have 2 carrier contracts, but I have the same physical termination coming in, and they're both riding across the same fiber. Danger Will Robinson kind of scenario there, where, hey, are these carriers coming into my data center? Are these carriers coming into my headquarters location on separate facilities. So business continuity and disaster recovery are critical aspects to understanding, hey, it's great that you have carrier redundancy. That's fantastic. What specific fiber and what specific facilities are those carriers transporting across to get to your address? And maybe you need to build out some redundancy there, and build out an alternative path for yourself or for the carrier of your choice that comes in, and extend that demarc and give them an alternative path into your data center. One of the first things Quest did when we built our first data center in 2007 was build out our own vaults and build out our own east and west entrance into our data center for separate transport, because we've all heard the story. Everyone tells the same story about the backhoe fade that cuts the fiber line, and all of a sudden your single site that had that one fiber ring going into it is down. So, business continuity strategies, helping organizations with resilience is another way to do that as well. Within security, everyone loves to talk about cybersecurity. Not a lot of people talk about the physical layer of cybersecurity. So having alternative paths, having video surveillance, having access control of your environment, maybe in the physical and the digital world, giving yourself as much redundancy as possible in the event there's a physical risk or a digital risk for your environment, having that backup plan, two is one is none kind of a concept when it comes to security. Those types of smart building management systems and giving people the ability to detect fire and potential security breaches and unauthorized access. All of those things are often overlooked when building out new environments or retrofitting existing office space. So those are areas we help with, and those are areas you can help with from a physical infrastructure standpoint. Everyone right now, the economy is in a little bit of a fluctuation, as always. Markets are always fluctuating. So cost efficiency is also a demand that folks are looking for help with. How do we get the most out of our existing systems? And how do we optimize for spend as far as people and environmentals and things like that? So smart building management systems, LED lighting, helping organizations to monitor and automate their systems when it comes to heating and cooling, and all the way down to like water chillers for campus environments. So if you have, thousands of people on campus or hundreds of people on a certain campus or in a certain office space for a certain amount of time, how do you automate it so the systems that keep that environment cool and ready and pleasant for your folks that are coming into that workspace, as well as chilling the water and just the energy usage on that? How do you work with smart buildings and automate that? Physical infrastructure is a key component to that, right? How do you tie in those systems? How do you drop the fiber, the sensors, the IoT? Everything like that is part of what we do in the physical infrastructure world. So we do this for campuses, we do this for schools, we do this for state and local governments, all of that type of smart building management. And then when we built out our second data center, for example, we did all LED zone lighting across about 200,000 square feet of data center and high availability office space. So lights come on when people are present. LED lighting and dropping cat cabling across the entire environment really helps save on building out copper in the same environment as well. So lots of options for cost efficiency to help do that. And then, one of the other things that we're seeing is things are changing all the time. So building out, again, capacity to adapt to the changes that are coming down the road is huge, and regulatory compliance as well, as far as helping to secure your people, your data, and your physical assets. Again, video surveillance, access control, confirming people are who they say they are on site. You have to do that when it comes to accessing your applications. You also need to do that when accessing your physical work environments. How are we validating that people are who they say they are when they're coming into a secure environment, whether that's your data center or your corporate headquarters, protecting your intellectual property? All of that is, regulations are not similar to IT. Regulations don't seem to be going away. They're growing. Compliance is continuing to get pushed down, and that is extending into the physical infrastructure world. So a lot of areas where clients are needing help with this. So when Quest is talking about infrastructure services, I know infrastructure can mean a lot of different things to different people, right? It can mean a certain layer of the technology stack. It can mean other things. When we're talking about infrastructure services, we're talking about, what you're seeing on the screen here, right? So standard cabling, right? Data center design and build, fiber optics and splicing. A lot of our growth right now on a national basis is helping organizations install and evaluate their physical security through access control and video surveillance. If you're familiar with organizations like and providers like the Verkada folks or Vigilon, or there's lots of different camera systems out there and access control providers out there. Great systems. We're helping organizations evaluate those as well as deploy and maintain them as a service. One thing that's critical when you're looking at these different service offerings here, whether it's video surveillance or digital signage or notification, or especially wireless as a service and wireless systems, every single one of these infrastructure services, Quest helps deploy. We also help source and provide the assets that make these possible. So the wireless systems, the paging systems, the digital signage. We do all this as a transaction. But what we're seeing, and I'm sure you as advisors are seeing this as well, organizations are in their facility directors and their people who are dealing with this technology. Some of them aren't able to keep up with it in a ability to manage, maintain, and support. So all of these infrastructure services are areas where we can deliver this as a service as well. So that includes the design, that includes the site walkthroughs, the deployment, so the physical infrastructure deployment. So Quest crews on site delivering cabling, delivering video surveillance and access control, tying that into their existing systems. And then what's really powerful is maintaining, operating, and supporting that physical infrastructure over a specific time period. So, for example, some organizations around wireless as a service or digital signage, these systems all require a couple different things. They're going to require a design. You're going to have to figure out what kind of digital signage solution or what kind of wireless solution is going to fit my new campus, or is going to fit my new office building, or my new retail location, or my new restaurant. Doesn't matter what the business is, right? The building blocks from infrastructure are going to be the same. So what digital signage or what wireless as a service or what wireless solution is going to fit that need? So we design that with the customer. We do the site walkthroughs. We have technicians come on site with you and your customer, and we assess the environment. Okay, we're going to need to put 4 screens here. We need a digital signage wall here. We need wireless coverage in this part for these guests. We need these residents to have this type of wireless. We need the general wireless to look like this. So we do the full design. That's the first step. And then as you move forward with that, then we select the appropriate technology to acquire and sell to the customer either as a service over a 3 to 5 year contract, or they can CapEx it and purchase it up front. So we help with the design, and then we work with you and your customer on, hey, how do they want to consume this? Do they want to buy it all at once and we help them deploy it? Or do they want to subscribe to it and bundle in all the other layers that are going to come from the infrastructure services division and roll that out over an entire 3-year contract? For example, when you're deploying wireless as a service, you have to cable in all the drops, right? So you have to figure out how long of a run can I have from my switch to my wireless access point? How am I going to power that? And then how is that wireless access point going to cover the environment and give everyone in there a good experience on that wireless? We all take it for granted. You walk into a Starbucks, you walk into a retail location, you walk into anywhere these days, you expect a good wireless experience. And but that takes some design, that takes some effort to make sure that that's functioning and redundant and capable. So what we do is we bundle in the infrastructure services and the technology, the deployment, and the day two management and support, and we can wrap all of that up into a monthly reoccurring charge and deliver that as an OpEx solution. So we can do that for all of these solutions and all these different infrastructure services you see on here today, or we can do simple one-time transactions if they would like to monitor, manage, and maintain it. Love to partner in that way as well. Some areas where we're seeing the biggest cost savings for folks when they're looking at, hey, do I acquire this myself, or do I bring in a partner to help operate this for me? Wireless as a service, we're seeing significant savings on the operation, management, and support of that, as well as audio visual. Clients really struggle with conference room setups, AV, getting the audio visual, the presentation, the sharing, the Teams room, the Zoom rooms, tying that in with their other existing platforms, Crestron, things like that. We help simplify all of that, leveraging what they've already invested, as well as bringing in our audio visual and infrastructure teams to help them assess what they have and then standardize it and give them a clean, good experience that their executives can walk into a conference room and confidently share their content on a board meeting with people all over the country, and not be struggling with, hey, is this HDMI cable, or how do I plug my laptop in, or how do I screen share? We've all been in that. I was in a conference room the other day where half the meeting was burned by, we're sitting there trying to broadcast a laptop onto a session so everyone can see it remotely as well as in the room. It's a nightmare for a lot of folks. So we're seeing a lot of use in that, as well as video surveillance and access control. So deploying it, installing it, making sure it's effectively achieving what the clients need it to achieve, and then delivering it as a service going forward. So like everything at Quest, a lot of customization. We want to meet the customers where they are, and we do all this type of services from an infrastructure services standpoint. More of a design engagement. This is for organizations. We call it technical program management. So we help build out some very large campuses throughout the United States from a new build standpoint. And this is a critical component when building or retrofitting or updating. This could be some of our largest projects were in the hospitality. So think hotels, conference centers, event centers, things like that, where they're building out new infrastructure. Oftentimes the general contractors are very focused on the physical, right? How much concrete do we need here? What's the plan to get the copper installed, the conduit installed? How are we doing all this? Oftentimes the technology aspect of the large new builds can be left out. So, and then you got to play catch up sometime when people figure out, hey, we gotta drop in wireless here, or we have to make sure that there's an IDF or an MDF to support this floor. So what we do is we bring in a program management team that sits with you and your customer and their general contractor and helps coordinate IT services with the rest of the trades. And you sometimes might think, well, that doesn't necessarily sound like a need out there. Most projects will fail at some level if technical program management or IT is not at the table with the trades. Budgets will get missed. People get really frustrated. So organizations are looking for this level of support. A lot of you probably step into that role at one layer or another, whether it's for the communications plan or the internet or the transport layer and things like that. But we've all seen projects get hamstrung by not proactively running a discovery process helping them plan it, and then sitting at the table with the trades. So we help with IDF and MPOs and helping organizations with, hey, where are these sites going to, are the IT assets going to reside? How are they going to be structured? How are they going to be installed? And then we work with them to actually deploy it. So we have 5 phases around discovery, planning, design, install, and testing, and then completion. Documenting that. So let's have a good documentation process for who's ever going to be operating this environment. Day 2, but critical component in the physical infrastructure space when the folks and the general contractors and the architecture firms and people like that are putting together a project. You got to have IT at the table. And we have a great team that comes in from a TPM standpoint to help manage that with clients. We had some great case studies and use cases. If you ever have an opportunity and you want to chat with us around that, this is a fantastic offering that can really help organizations with clean delivery and hit their goals on new builds and things like that. So that's kind of a big project plan. That's where the large ones can layer in. But on the day-to-day with the SMB and the middle market accounts that we all work with every day, where can you start? We've found at Quest the best place to start oftentimes is with an infrastructure and or like a licensing health check, right? So starting out with a health check and an assessment of if it's a video surveillance solution, if it's an audio visual solution, if it's a wireless environment, what do you have in place right now? How is it working? If we need to do a site walk and go do a full wireless assessment of the current build, those are fantastic, right? So we'll go and we'll do a full wireless review. We'll do a spectrum analysis. We'll do an Ekahau, kind of blast out the wireless design and give recommendations based on what we're seeing, how to upgrade or how to change or how to improve. Video surveillance is also an area where folks can struggle. They may have had closed circuit, surveillance systems. They may have legacy systems. They may have on-premise video storage, as well as their video management systems. They might have that controller on site, and they might be looking to move that to a cloud-based environment or get some more redundancy or figure that out. Not to joke about the news right now, but video surveillance is oftentimes pretty important, regardless of what certain people in the government say. Oftentimes important to make sure you get it right and it's documented and it's available for everyone to see. So we do video surveillance reviews. We help organizations take a look at how they're storing that data, as well as we document and help give them guidance on how areas that they can improve that. So oftentimes their facilities teams, their IT directors or folks like that might not be super interested in managing that themselves, right? So they can push that to you as a advisor saying, hey, can you bring someone in to help manage, monitor, and maintain this system for me? This isn't really my skill set or my forte. Can you do that? Quest can come in and deliver that as a service. And we typically start that with a review. Physical security, always important. Access control, key areas of ingress and egress. So how people are getting into your facility, how they're getting out of your facility. We can document that. We have some security professionals who come on site and can basically assess an environment from a security perspective and kind of highlight those areas. Hey, where do we need to put badge readers? Where do we need to put cameras? Where are some potential areas of vulnerability, and document that and then enforce that with access control and video surveillance. The last one here, as far as audiovisual assessments, most of our audiovisual is going to be around consolidation and tuning. Now, would we love to rip and replace everything and give them the latest and greatest of, hey, here's the cutting edge systems and the best of breed? Absolutely. Most clients aren't ready to do that. They've already made investments in Team or Zoom or, name the platform, WebEx, whatever it is. But they need to marry that digital selection that they've made with the physical world. And that can be taken for granted sometimes. A lot of people just assume, hey, I subscribe to Teams or I subscribe to Zoom or WebEx. This should just work. Rarely does that actually happen. So what we do is we know that assumption exists out there, especially in the executive and the leadership space, right? Hey, I spent this money on XYZ product. It should just work. It doesn't. So we don't necessarily argue with folks about that. But what we do is we come in and we help tune and automate that in a usable format that the executives and folks who are non-technical can access. So you hate to say dummy proof, you don't want to call anyone a dummy, but non-technical proof people and environments and rooms from an audiovisual standpoint. That is a great opportunity for you to bring one of our professionals in with you to help consolidate what they've already purchased and tune and give them solid performance on what they've already invested in. Again, would love for the upgrade, would love to position and get them on the latest and greatest, and we certainly can, and would love to work with you on basically showing how that could help your client's business. But a lot of our engagements start out with consolidation and tuning, and then, hey, is there a need for ongoing support? For Quest, something that crosses every aspect of our services, whether it's layer 1 infrastructure or all the way up to layer 7 applications, is technical on-call support. So we did a specific boot camp on technical on-call support. If you ever want to take a look at it, would love to share that content with you. But technical on-call support is something that could fall into any of these categories where folks invest in their video surveillance, they invest in their Microsoft, or they invest in their wireless, or they invest in their physical security assets. But 3 months go by, 6 months goes by, they bought it, they don't have it being managed by Quest or by any other partner. Something breaks, they can pick up the phone, call an engineer, call Quest, open a ticket and say, hey, this system broke or this system needs to be upgraded. Can you help me? So technical on-call support is a great way to also layer into helping clients with their infrastructure. A lot of IT folks don't necessarily jump into the physical infrastructure world. Talks is something that can help you start that conversation, whether it's hanging an access point, extending a DMARC, trenching from one building on a customer's campus to another, setting up a wireless relay from one building to another. Whatever it is, technical on-call support can kind of help get you started in that conversation. Great way to get involved in physical infrastructure. They got to do it with somebody. They have to figure this stuff out. There's always pain and trouble and things breaking. It's the nature of the universe. Things decompose and break. So in physical infrastructure, these things are breaking all the time. So a great opportunity to let them know that you have a partner and you have the capability to get a truck on site, to get a physical resource there to help them with a specific need, whether it's audio visual, wireless, point-to-point relays, any of that stuff. You can get people there to help. Critical to make them aware of that. Now, selfishly, we're all sales folks, right? So what are the reasons that we do this? Oftentimes, when you help someone achieve something, our go-to-market strategy is we're an IT company and how can we help? We found that when you offer to help where clients are looking for help, not where you think they need help, but where they're actually struggling and where they're aware they're struggling and they need some help, all sorts of these great things pop off, right? So you help them with one challenge, whether that's wireless or video surveillance or access control or building out their data center closet or migrating them from their physical data center to a virtual instance, whatever it is, you're going to establish some of these benefits, right? You're going to get sticky with them. You're going to establish some reoccurring revenue. They trust you. They want to work with you. You did a good job for them. Infrastructure services folks struggle on a national basis and locally to find consistent operators, right? Cable providers, people to help with fiber splicing, people to help with deploying a clean install. We've all seen those pictures on LinkedIn. I think half the guys reuse the same pictures, but it's that rat's nest of a data center, or that cable mess, or anything like that. They need good people to help them punch down and help them, just labeling their cables, right? Just labeling what's plugged into what. Those are huge. That cable matrix and that design, that's a huge win for folks if they can get someone that they trust to do a good job. And that's going to enhance your retention of your clients. It's going to help you with your reoccurring revenue streams. They're going to trust you if they trust you with something small like that, you start building that credibility. That's going to keep doing it and keep growing your revenue with them. If you can execute on something that folks are having a struggle with, you get higher profit margins, right? If they're struggling with a challenge in the infrastructure space, infrastructure projects can really bolt on a lot of great profit to an existing project, right? So if you're helping them with their unified communications opportunity, and that same person you're talking to about their phone systems is dealing with wireless, is dealing with that restaurant's coverage for their clients, or is dealing with that new retail location's digital signage, they're buying the phone system from you. Why not ask about digital signage? Why not ask about their physical infrastructure? They got 10 new sites getting built, next year. Or they got a new office building getting built out. Just ask the curious question, hey, I'm helping you with your phones, or I'm helping you with your telecommunications. Would you like any help building out your infrastructure? Does your general contractor, have a go-to provider in this market? Do you need some help sourcing that? Do you need a consistent delivery? We had a client who struggled to have consistent standards delivered across. They were an insurance broker client that you may or may not have heard of, that had regional offices, and they had a very specific standard and look and feel that they wanted to have across every location. They wanted their clients to walk in and feel like, whether they're walking into an Austin, Texas facility, or a Miami facility, or a Poughkeepsie, New Jersey facility, they didn't matter. They wanted to know that it was the same environment, same look and feel, same color of cables, same standards across the board. They were struggling with that. Our team came in, helped them execute on the standard, and they tested us in about 5 markets. And they ended up flying our team and using our team as a dedicated team every time that they stood up a new location. Now, is that across the board going to happen all the time? No, but there is a challenge in the market to get that consistent delivery in the infrastructure. A lot of I hate doing fear, uncertainty, and doubt. So this isn't a fear pitch, but this is just only the paranoid survive, right? Organizations, your local cabling providers, your local folks that are in a certain vertical, everyone is diversifying. I don't know if you've noticed it, but when you go to these TSB events and these master agent events and these, those guys are scaling up rapidly and recruiting all sorts of partners, which is great for the channel, right? Tons of business for everybody. The only challenge there sometimes is that person who used to just do one thing can now branch off into multiple things. And if they come in and execute on a specific cabling opportunity, they can ask the curious question too, and they can cross-sell into cross into your swim lane a little bit. So less hands in the pot as far as helping service your client. Not that you can control the universe. People are going to do what they're going to do. But if you want to kind of stay ahead of the competition a little bit and help be a single source for your customers, we can help you do that, right? We built out our infrastructure division to help you execute for your clients and kind of, grow as that full service provider for them. So critical growth strategy, helping them get that done. Everyone's moving towards AI. Everyone's moving towards IoT. Everyone's got sensors. Everyone's got to figure this out. It's not slowing down. We help with that. We help with the design. We help with the physical builds, and we can help with the ongoing management and support. So wherever you want to plug us in, we would love to work with you, and it helps you long-term maintain the clients, increase your margins, cross-sell into new areas, and kind of be that one-stop shop for your customers. As far as working together, and if you walk away from this event again, if you found it beneficial, or you'd like to do a deeper dive into specific aspects of what we do from infrastructure services, specifically around wireless or boring and trenching and physical infrastructure, conduit installation, campus design, all that kind of stuff, please reach out anytime. We'd love to work with you on those specifics. But understanding where the IT infrastructure conversation starts, and how it's affecting your clients today, everything is built on physical infrastructure. Everything is going across a wireless network. Everything is going across some type of connectivity or transport to the cloud. Artificial intelligence, all of that stuff is worthless. It's worthless without the physical infrastructure or the transport to get it from point A to point B. And there's still huge opportunity and huge builds going on across everywhere. I don't care if it's healthcare, financial services, government services, everything in the economy needs layer 1 and layer 2. And they need a consistent delivery partner who can give them a good, consistent build. And every single one of your clients needs help with this. So if you haven't had the conversation with your existing customers, or you'd like to have a deeper dive in a conversation with us, with them, we'd love to continue that conversation. It needs to be efficient. It needs to be reliable. Understanding why clients are struggling with this, future-proofing their business, building scalability. A lot of clients have these challenges. They don't necessarily know who to go to in the middle market. Having this conversation with them and letting them know you can be a resource for them is definitely something we'd love to just ask the curious question. Just throw it out there. Ask who they're working with. They have a good partner. Are they confident in the delivery? Do they need help? A lot of pain out there in the physical infrastructure world. And again, it's going to help your earning potential. It's going to help you stay sticky with your clients. And it's an easy upsell to an existing engagement, whether you're helping them with their transport, whether you're helping them with their data center selection, or you're helping them with, hey, I just need to get from my main office building direct connect to Azure. Great opportunity to say, hey, I know you're looking for a 10 gig link to Azure or 1 gig link to Azure. Let's talk about your local infrastructure. How is that? Is it redundant, or do you have multiple paths there? Do you need some help with that? A lot of folks are looking for that cloud instance, but sometimes they forget the local connectivity requirements as well. So great opportunity to have those discussions. Paul, I think we may have had a couple questions come in while I was jabbering on, but anything come in?
Yes, great presentation. So a couple questions. First, Ross was wondering, do you offer services in Canada?
Yes, we do. We do offer services in Canada. Installation, and we have some distribution partners there. We don't have a nexus in Canada, so I don't have a business license in Canada, but oftentimes we work with clients who are headquartered in the United States and have assets in Canada. So we have a couple of data centers up there that we work out of and things like that. But happy to have that conversation.
Great. Thanks for asking, Ross. And again, if you're watching and have questions, let us know. We can still get them answered. A couple other questions that we got in the registration. Does Quest install and manage security cameras?
Yes, we do. Yep. So we have thousands of security cameras under management, and then thousands more that have been deployed and are under customer management. So been doing that for a long time. Have some great folks on our bench and in our infrastructure team that come from the gaming industry, as well as different departments within the government, Department of Corrections, for example, that we've worked with for a long time and help with those types of video surveillance opportunities. So,
Great. Third question. Who should I contact at Quest if my company provides infrastructure installation services?
yeah, great question. So infrastructure services and working together, we do work with partners on that. So partners@questsys.com. Just shoot a note to partners@questsys.com and we'll get you connected with our infrastructure team.
Great. This question is a little broader, so it might take a little while to ask. When working with clients, what is the closest service offering that can lead to infrastructure services? For instance, like managed services. Yeah, they just kind of wanted a little help there.
Yeah, so great question. All different verticals touch infrastructure at some level, right? So even application development, if you're running an application on infrastructure that's bottlenecked, you're going to have challenges, but those folks might not be completely adjacent to it. Communications, so unified communications, phone systems, and then telecommunication and transport or wireless. Those are all very, very adjacent to physical infrastructure. Those, I mean, your cabling drops for your wireless access points, your handsets for your phones. If you're helping organizations with a new build or a campus build out or a redesign or a refresh or anything like that, those are all immediately adjacent to helping organizations get their physical infrastructure squared away. So great question. But I know a lot of folks on the call today and a lot of folks in our partner community do a great job helping organizations get the most out of their telecommunications, their data center operations, and their security services. Those are all very, very reliant on the underlying physical infrastructure. So, I mean, not that any questions are dumb, but just sometimes ask the dumb, curious question like, hey, how are you seeing these two things work together?
Great. Again, thanks for all the questions. Couple things you should know. If you want to access this video later, you absolutely can through the Quest Partner Portal. The video will be up there, and you can always reach out to us, any questions. But also, almost forgot, Darcy, our VP of Marketing, is here to do the drawing for a $200 gift card. So, Darcy, if you want to do that,
almost
drawing.
forget.
I know, it's very important.
For today's winner is John Budge. So John, congratulations. And our team will reach out with you with email and information regarding the digital gift card that will be coming your way.
Great. Congratulations.
Thanks, John.
Yeah, congratulations, John. Next webinar you should know about in the Bootcamp series is going to be July 23rd. We'll be talking about demystifying application development and system integration projects. As you can see on the screen right now, you have a couple QR codes that'll get you to playbooks, as well as when you register for our next bootcamp, you can include questions there as well. So if there's something you really want to know, let us know so we can kind of prep for that. And again, this video will be accessible through the Quest Partner Portal. Adam, I'm all out of words. Anything else you should be adding?
No, thanks again for everyone who joined us today. If you want to scan the QR code and register for any future boot camps, love to have you on the application development and system integration discussion we're having. That's the next one coming up. But also, we put together some great turnkey marketing playbooks around the services that we're covering. So if you want to go and check those out, we'll follow up with that content as well. But those are great assets for you and your company if you want to start messaging out these concepts to your clients and starting the conversation. So it all starts with a conversation. It all starts with a question. And the turnkey marketing playbooks are a great asset that we've built for you as partners. So please take advantage of those, take a look at them, and we look forward to seeing you guys on the next session.